Green the Only has referenced the 100 kilowatt hour Model 3 in the past, and there's some more evidence showcasing that that may end up being an actual vehicle due to some leaks floating around showcasing a screenshot of a Model 3's factory mode display showcasing that the battery pack within that particular Model 3 was 100 kilowatt hours, and by the way, the silver color, which has been discontinued for a long time, so maybe Tesla's working on bringing that back as well. The legitimacy is questionable because, Green the Only is retweeting this guy who doesn't really have much of a track record, but Green the Only has done a lot of hacking and looking in depth at Tesla's code down to the core levels, and he's received copyright issues in the past where he apparently was tweeting stuff that Tesla was not okay with him tweeting, so there's definitely some credibility here. It absolutely does not mean, though, that this is for sure happening. It could just be a prototype, it could be something Tesla's messing around with, but never actually planning on bringing to production. In today's video, I essentially wanted to speculate on this leak and tell you what I think it could mean and how Tesla would implement a Model 3 which would have a much larger battery pack. In case you didn't know, the long-range dual-motor Model 3 currently has a battery pack of 75 kilowatt hours, and that takes it 322 miles. So, in the event that Tesla would be able to increase the battery size of the Model 3 up to 100 kilowatt hours, so pretty substantial, they could pretty easily break the 400-mile range department, which would be pretty insane considering how power efficient the Model 3 is, given its weight, the way it's built. And what's interesting about this report that a lot of people may not know about is the Model 3 is really not designed in a way to support a battery pack of that size, which is why a lot of people are speculating on the idea that since this battery pack could exist and they're experimenting with a Model 3 with a larger battery pack, that it could be Tesla implementing their new battery chemistry or their new battery cells, which would be more energy dense than previous generations and allow for things like this. That should mean that vehicles that aren't that expensive to produce could still go well over 400 miles. And right now, the standard range Model 3 has a battery pack size of 50 kilowatt hours, so there's about a $9,000 gap between standard range plus and long range. So if you apply that same logic again, you could maybe see a $55,000, $56,000 long range plus Model 3. If you think that name is stupid, yes, they do have a long range plus for both the Model S and the X, which essentially just made them go further than the previous generation long ranges. So one thing to remember here, though, is that I'm absolutely certain Tesla would not want to unveil a Model 3 that goes over 400 miles if the Model S and X are still technically not quite breaking that 400-mile mark. I know Elon says it does, but the EPA hasn't gone through that approval yet either. So my guess is that they would not release a Model 3 with a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack until the Plaid powertrain for at least the Model S has come out. Maybe Tesla is okay with the Model X not getting updated because that's kind of the more dated design. It's not really competing with the Model 3 either because it's an SUV, but Model S and 3 have a lot of overlap when it comes to their market share. So I'm guessing that they would wait until the Plaid powertrain is out for the Model S, which is happening. Elon has confirmed that it is for sure going into production if all goes well by the end of this year, but given there were a lot of setbacks and delays this year, I could easily see them pushing it till early 2021. But of course, the Plaid powertrain Model S would have a larger battery pack than the one it currently rocks, which is 100 kilowatt hours. That takes it about 400 miles. So if they're increasing the size of that battery pack, say to about 120 kilowatt hours, then the Model S Plaid with the tri-motor setup and everything would have, for one, insane performance, and also potentially the first electric car to break the 500-mile range department. So given the Cybertruck is going to be able to break 500 miles and deliveries for that are supposed to be end of next year, I think Tesla is going to want to ensure that the Model S gets updated before the Cybertruck is delivered. That way, yes, if you don't want a giant, drastic, weird-looking EV like that, you'd still be able to go with the high-performance Model S, which, by the way, this will come with a price jump. Elon had referenced it within the tweets that the price would reflect the improved performance. So, in my opinion, that's why it makes perfect sense for the Model 3 to get some higher-tier options, more so than it has right now, so that it can rock things like ludicrous mode, which Green the Only has referenced in the past is being worked on internally for the Model 3. So, a bigger performance enhancement, my guess, is some type of 0 to 60 time that would be under 3 seconds, because the performance Model 3 right now is about 3 seconds for 0 to 60. So Tesla would deem the Model 3 as supporting ludicrous mode if it could do 0 to 60 in maybe like 2.5 seconds, and that will be possible in thanks to the battery pack that will be much larger, more energy dense, and the 0 to 60 time of the Model S could probably improve to 0 to 60 in maybe 2.1 seconds, and that will be in thanks to the tri-motor setup, as well as an even larger battery pack that should be able to take the Model S over 500 miles if you drive, normally. If you're driving it like crazy, crazy on track mode performance. Yeah, no, it's not going 500 miles, but that's what I personally think of this leak. That's how I think Tesla would roll it out, and not really sure if they would try to cram a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack in the Model Y either. Maybe a good idea, but there's all kinds of different theories and speculations on how this could be rolling out, if this leak is real or not, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it, so feel free to hit me up over on Twitter, join my Discord, we can chat more about it there. Thank you for watching, hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.